Hey everybody, hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the Word. And today that word is see. See. Now, as we come to this, the 10th chapter, but you see the 8th and ninth plagues, a plague of locusts and a plague of darkness. And today with that word see, it's why we kind of play on the darkness theme here. That Scripture says that the locusts covered the ground, and it covered every single spot. And it's interesting there again that Moses does intercede because of Pharaoh's request, and the locusts disappeared. Not a single one of them remained. Yet Pharaoh hardened his heart and would not let the people go. And in that conversation before that, he says, well, you know what? Hey, I'm going to let y'all go ahead and leave, and I'll let you go and worship. But let me ask you this, who's going? And Moses says, well, we all are. And then Pharaoh's like, no, 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 no. How about your men can go and that's it? And Moses says, that's not happening. So then you go on, you have the plague of darkness. And it says extreme, just like a thick darkness. Some would argue this is probably a sandstorm of types, right? But it was like this for 3 days that they couldn't see. Everybody stayed where they were because you couldn't see to go anywhere. Yet the Israelites could see just fine. I believe that Moses, here in this conversation for sure, could see just fine as well. But I want you to understand what Moses was waiting to see versus what Pharaoh was seeing himself. So, Exodus chapter 10, verses 24 through 26 today. Then Pharaoh called to Moses and said, go, serve the Lord. Only let your flocks and your herds be kept back. Let your little ones also go with you. But Moses said, you must also give us sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. Our livestock also shall go with us. Not a hoof shall be left behind. For we must take some of them to serve the Lord our God. And even we do not know with what we must serve the Lord until we arrive there. I love the contrast here. That Pharaoh is physically blind and let's be honest, spiritually blind. He's spiritually blind because he continues to choose not to see. Now remember, he hardened his heart, and then God just hardens it even further. God is accomplishing his purpose. We've talked about that some already this week. But not only is he accomplishing his purpose that way, he is also proving himself, who he is, introducing himself, as we talked about yesterday, to all the people of Israel, to let them know this is the God whom you serve. This is the God. This will forever be the God who rescued you out of Egypt. But even in that, it seems at this point, they understand that partial obedience is still disobedience. So when Pharaoh said, yes, the men can go, Moses said, that's not going to happen. Here, Pharaoh says, well, I tell you what, all of y'all can go, but the animals have to stay. Now, why would he say that other than, hey, I want to give them reason to have to come back? Come back for that, and then we'll know they'll come back. Throughout all of this, God is he is showing Pharaoh, showing the hardness of Pharaoh's heart, that Pharaoh was never going to let them go until it got to the extreme cases. Now, even in this chapter, you see that the people are coming to Pharaoh and saying, Pharaoh, do you not see that we are devastated? Obviously, it's kind of like that. You can imagine like his cabinet members and his supporters coming up and saying, Pharaoh, man, you got to do something different. This is all falling apart. But I love Moses in the way he says it. One, we've got to obey because all of them are coming with us. But I love the reason why. He says, because even we do not know how we're going to serve him, what we're going to serve him with. In other words, he's saying, we are waiting to see. But they were waiting, and they were waiting to see patiently. And And it maybe even at this point, through the plagues, they may have been patient, but we know before that they were growing impatient with God. But yet here now it seems that they're, at least by Moses' part, being the spokesman for the group, that the faith that they had, that they were going to serve God there, but yet also understanding it required their full obedience. I imagine with Moses knowing that, if he had left and left the animals behind, I wonder what the conversation would have been like. All right, guys, we're going to go all the way out here to worship God on the mountain as he required, but I don't know how we're going to offer sacrifices yet because we didn't bring any animals with us. Or even before, well, hey, guys, we're going to go and we're just going to leave all the kids and our wives behind. We're going to leave all them back and all the animals, and we're going to get there. And if God asks where they are, I don't know what we're going to tell him. See, they knew that they were going to see God. They knew that they were going to see him at work. Moses knew from everything he had seen and the miracles that God was doing through him, he knew we've got to obey his full command. He's also getting the instructions. He's in lockstep with what God is having him to do. And I wonder today how many times we're like Pharaoh and how many times we're like Moses. I think sometimes we get so focused on the things that we see with our physical eyes that we miss the parts that we cannot see with our spiritual eyes. And so we get so caught up in the darkness of this world that seems like a thick darkness, and it keeps us from moving from our place because of safety and because of, well, this is all I know, and I can't see any further. But yet Moses couldn't see any further down the road. He couldn't see into tomorrow. He couldn't see into the years to come. But he trusted by faith that God was going to rescue them and that God would instruct them what they needed to do when they got there. He said, I'd be willing to wait and see. Too many of us would not even be like Moses. We would say, well, wait a minute, I've got to have the whole plan. It wouldn't say, well, we're leaving to go worship. We would say, well, we're going to go worship him. Even if you let us go, we're still going to hang out until he gives us explicit instructions about what we're going to do. He's got to give us an itinerary before we go. He's got to give us a church program. He's got to give us a bulletin. He's got to give us line item after line item of exactly what we're going to be doing with our time there. Too many times, that's the way we treat God. And I tell you, I think when we do that, we're just like Pharaoh walking in the thick, thick darkness. But today, I would just ask you, are you looking like Pharaoh and not seeing a thing? Or are you looking ahead like Moses with great faith? God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.